Episode of Cardboard Conversations again. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Bob and Matt, for being here with me tonight. How you doing, fellas?
Cue the intro music.
Yo. Yeah, right. Oh, I don't have that yet.
All
Although
right.
I have been talking to another guy named Michael, not Superbacker, but I've got a musician friend. So we are looking at some intro music for this.
Oh, nice.
That'd be cool.
Nice. Because that's what we need.
It'd be cool.
It works great because, it gives us that intro period where we actually go live. Never sure when it's starting up, except 7 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays. That's right.
Well,
Hell
to be honest with you, the mistake we probably make is our pregame show where we have great content that we talk about, and oftentimes we just miss talking about it on the actual show.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it, we should have talked about that.
Yeah.
There's so much great content, folks, behind the scenes when we're
Mm.
just jabbering back and forth between the three of us, and you all miss out on that. We've been thinking about allowing
Get
access.
Mm.
Yeah, that's our conversation. We've been thinking about allowing access via Patreon or member only, something to allow some folks unfettered access to the real behind the
What up,
scenes
Ryan?
squawking. Let us know what you guys think about that in the comments below, and tell us if you would be up for sort of exclusive access. And the reason we would have to restrict it is it sometimes it gets a bit more mature, and sometimes it gets a bit
Unfriendly for ads.
unfriendly,
Yeah.
uncritical.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Definitely
how else
not
to put that.
monetizable. Yeah.
Right. So it's something I think that people would enjoy and could get some value from,
Mm.
but I don't think it's something we want to put on recorded air. So let us know what you think about it. If you'd like to have more access to us behind the scenes, so to speak. It won't be tremendous amounts of stuff. Sometimes we'll go for an hour or two. But typically there's at least 10 to 15 minutes of chat surrounding both the pregame show and the post-game follow-up, so to speak, or post-cast follow-up. So let us
There's
know if
always,
that's
like,
something
yeah.
you guys would like better access to.
Mm.
Unfortunately, it would have to be something, kind of paywall guarded to allow folks into. We haven't quite figured it out, but we'll do something. It won't be tremendously expensive.
It's nice that we're trying to figure out different ways to bring extra content to the people that do want to help support us. And I think that's a great idea, Bob, doing a little, post-show wrap-up party kind of thing. Yeah,
Well,
I think that would
it
be
kind
a
of
great idea. Yeah.
Kind of falls in line. It maybe not so much, like extra cost, but extra value, right? And I think that's sort of been a
Exactly.
chat this week. It's a chat I had with Pat about that this week, and it kind of spurred the title of tonight's show. And we thought it might be decent to talk about it, in light of current events with Modern Horizons 3 and the costs associated with it. Good set, but you guys want to drop that kind of money on it when we know that the price is going to drop, the value is going to drop financially?
I mean,
for
when's the time? When do you proxy? When do you purchase? It's a great point, Bob.
A lot of
Especially
people
with
don't know.
the prices that we're looking at for Modern Horizons 3. This is by far one of the most, I think, in recent
Expensive.
memory, the second most expensive set, aside from
Right.
Commander Masters, which, I mean, people just rebelled against by voting with their wallet and hanging on to the couple of coins in the purse there. And I think now we are actually seeing a bit of a turnaround on that. I'm seeing a lot of interest, both singles and some people buying into sealed product for MH3. Are either
Well,
of you guys getting into it?
No.
Yep.
I mean, just look at the prices of a perfectly fine set. I think it was a really value packed set too, with the Dominaria remastered, and how quickly that fell off of a cliff. And it's not that would happen the same way. I'm sure they're looking at these and changing some of their print models, but then it starts getting into
Oblivion. I don't think this is at all. I've been hearing the print runs are very low, very tight.
Well, but that still doesn't make it any better for the individual person that's going to get a card that's going to get reprinted, and then it face plants, right? And so, do you want to drop, $300 to open a box to maybe get 4 or 5 of the fetch lands that you really wanted when you could easily print them for 30 cents a piece?
Right.
Now the problem with
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say the
Well,
problem
so
with
I was
proxying is that you have to have a
yeah.
threshold, right? You have to have a group of
Yes.
cards that's at least $30 in value to even make it worth considering, even at
Right.
the, aggregate level of 30 cents a piece. So when do you buy cards
Mm,
proxied versus buying the card, depending on when you need it, how many you need? Like I kind of set that threshold around $2, right? If it's a good card and it's at that $2 level, then I don't start
mm,
stacking up my proxies. It's when I start getting, 3, 4, 5 of the 30, 40, 50, $100 cards, because I just don't want them to reprint those. And right after I purchased a $50 card, it's now
mm.
$10.
Right, and
That
have
feels
that
bad.
epic feels bad moment. Yeah, and I was recently looking at the commander card we'd been talking about behind the scenes, that Nadu card there. The new Simic Hotshot commander coming out, and it's going for like $30 to $40 currently. And I know that's pre-sale prices, but I've started watching some of Lance's openings over on Rip and Ship by Moonshot. Shout out there. And it seems like it's a rather rare card, maybe one every 3 boxes or so. So I think it will hold a $20, $25 value probably. And that
Until it
right
gets
there,
In many
reprinted.
formats, it's a baller card.
yeah, and my expectation is something that's so sought after is probably going to hold a pretty decent price tag for a while until it does hit those inevitable reprint waves. Definitely, Bob. And I just want to interact with the card. I'd like to make a pretty gross deck around it. And I don't want to pay that $20 or $25. So for 35, I can get myself a full proxy deck of it. And I think that right there, Bob, was like my price point where it was just going to be too much to buy into it for singles prices.
Well, and that's sort of, the great question. And I'm glad that everybody, thank you everybody for showing up. Michael Superbacker Prime, Cosmic Seeds. Good to see all of you here. That's sort of the idea, and each person is going to have to set that threshold. Where do I start saving up a bunch of cards I need to play that I really don't care about them being, tournament legal, enough to get to that, like, because I think with the proxy, like, it really doesn't start getting worth it till around the $30-$35 level, all inclusive, like shipped, and then you have to do the work of organizing the card and whatnot.
Mm.
But at $35, you could, what is it, like, I don't remember, was it 75 cards or something like that you get for $35, somewhere around there?
For me, it's about $36 or $38
Or is it
for
100
a
cards?
full commander deck shipped.
Okay, yeah. So again, you can get playable cards that while you're waiting in the interim to see where the dust settles, what are they going to reprint, until it gets down to a reprint level that they're happy with, because they're not stopping the reprint train. That ship has sailed. They have clearly indicated nothing's out of bounds, and they're going to reprint. And the problem is they keep driving up the price of the boxes, which makes me go, okay, I will not buy that. Instead, I'll buy things like, just bought this today. Bought a couple of these.
Oh, nice.
This is the Illumineers Quest, the
Awesome.
cooperative Disney Ursula's Return set item instead of the what do they call it? They call it different things in each set. It was like the
Lumineers Trove specialty item. Yeah.
well, it wasn't a trove. It was always like the I don't remember what it was in the first set, but it was something first set, something different second set, and third set. They had the 100th anniversary one in the third set. But yeah, I saw I picked up 3 copies of it, by the way. They were $70 a piece, so that's where my price point's at of those. And I got them at a really like full retail store where my daughter works.
Oh, okay.
I was just happened to be in the store, and I'm like, you know what? I know I've looked at my online sources that were not selling it right for cheap. They have it advertised for cheap, but they're out of stock everywhere that I look, and I normally shop. So I said, yeah, I'm just going to pick it up. Not an LGS. It's a big, not really big. It's a local store called Meijer, and it's kind of like a slightly upscaled Walmart. But yeah, I just that's not it. That's
nope.
That's the trove.
I don't even think they have them then. See what
Just
we
look,
got for
just put
sealed
sealed.
products.
It'll be there. Wow, they see.
Yeah,
Like I said, it's like they just
that is
don't even
an
have the damn
impressive
thing.
surprise.
So
Yeah.
maybe not a bad pickup if you see them on a shelf somewhere. Just snag it. I mean, $70 seems to be reasonable enough for me.
Well, let's go ahead and see what
I
we
normally
have
go
here.
to Game Nerds is my first stop because I just love it. It's not a 2-player starter. It is a cooperative, kind of like Commander Raids. It does say 1 to 2 players, but even in the advertisement, they said that you could add additional players by adding additional decks. It's just that it comes with only 2 decks. I don't know how well it scales. We haven't played it yet. Sherry Vegas said she would play with me, and I, was busy cleaning the basement instead. So I'll get to that in the next week or two, and when we have a little
Empty
more
box.
review on it, I will. You have to look it up. It's called look it up specifically. It's called Illumineer's Quest. Deep Trouble. Okay, so I guess I got it at a decent deal because even on eBay, it's
And that's
$90
plus 10
starting with
shipping,
0.
so that's $100 right there on bids too.
So I have a feeling it's probably there. It's $1.19.
I'll probably bid out on this.
It can't hurt you if it doesn't sell. People don't know about it, and people won't know about it until in the rear view mirror that it becomes valuable, right? Then people will be like, "Oh,
$100 right out the gate." Yeah, I mean,
all right. Well, then I don't feel so bad. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I know I'm paying full retail. I feel bitter because I saw them for sale initially at like $49.95 or something, but every place that had them advertised for that much were just
they
out.
were gone.
Like
Yeah.
they were gone immediately. So
Well, those are probably the
it is.
listings I'm seeing here on eBay.
Who knows, man? So obviously, they don't print everything into oblivion for Lorcana, but it seems like they print in large quantity for the draft boxes, right?
Yeah.
But the ancillary products, they don't seem to print. Well, I think the starter decks they also print to hell and back because those typically get really cheap. I think I ordered a case of the Into the Inklands ones when it got down to something like $7 a deck. I was like, really?
Just too cheap not to, yeah.
I mean, just the loose pack in it alone is going to be at least worth $4 or $5. So each deck was like $2. I'm like, okay, cool. I can give them away as, hey, try this game out.
And Bob, you said you were not going to be interacting with Modern Horizons 3 at its current price.
Not in a
point,
retail
right?
sense. I don't I don't really go to pre-releases. They've outpriced me, right? I don't.
It's
not
funny
that I
you
can't
mentioned
afford
that. I think
I just
that's
don't
going to
want
be like the one way I do actually interact with it is I'm planning on going to my local gaming store. It's going to be their first event that they have after they were flooded out last year, and it's going to be
cool.
the MH3
Nice.
pre-release, $60, and that's exactly what the box goes for online. So I think it should be a pretty fun experience.
And see, to me, that just feels bad because only just a couple of years ago, you went to a pre-release event. It was $20.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right, and that just feels absurd to me, and that's why I don't go. That's why I don't participate. I guess you could say I'm voting with my wallet to say no. The prices, not that I can't afford them, but I do want to retire, folks. And that shit's expensive.
Yeah, I feel
I'm weighing out. I haven't bought hardly any cards. This is the first time I've splurged, and I was like, I have been wanting that Ursula's co-op deck for what 5-6 months since they announced it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm getting it. There's copies right here in front of me, and I know if I don't get them. So what I did is I bought 2 for my shelf because God only knows why, but I want them, and 1 to open. So I took the smashed box that they had there to leave 1 nice box for there were 4 there. I didn't take them all. I took 3 of the 4 that the store had. Right. And I guarantee you I won't see them there again. I promise you that. They seem to get a little bit of product at Meijer, and when they do, they sell through it. And when that's gone, they don't restock ever. Right. And I'm not trying to beat Joey Moss to the Walmarts around here anymore. I work. That dude works at cleaning out Walmarts.
Yeah.
So this area is terrible.
I think you said, Matt, that you were pretty much on the flip side of both of us. You were going a bit heavier as far as your allocation on boxes.
Yeah, I bought 2 play boxes. I bought a set of commander decks. I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't buy more. I almost didn't buy any, but my buddy talked me into buying one of them. They're really pricey. I pre-ordered at 172. They're 240 right now
Oh, wow.
for the 4-piece or 4-set collectors or 4-set non-collector versions. The collector ones are still 600, and from what I hear,
yeah.
the stores are getting like 1 per store, 1 set.
Mm.
And I've heard that from multiple. I've heard that from Rudy. I heard that from there was a guy that was doing pre-opens. He was a store. He was opening some of the product, and I guess from what I understand, each store is allocated like 1 to 2 of the $600 collectors.
Wow. It sounds similar to the collector's one they had done for the Warhammer 40K. How those were just, astronomical and incredibly rare, and hence the price tag on them.
And I'm fine missing out on, like this product going to the moon, that product going to zero. And I'll just hold off. And there's nothing I really, really need. And if I do, I'll just proxy it. I don't.
Yeah, no, I think that the reason I
opening any of
decided to
them.
do the pre-release at all was really for the experience. You go out, have fun. I invited the guys from my pod to go out with me as well. So I might have 1 or 2 of them join me. And I think that would be a great experience. And again, that goes back to something we've been talking about for, since the inception of the podcast, was the gathering aspect of Magic the Gathering, going out, having fun, figuring out a new way to play. And I barely ever do sealed Magic anymore. It's very uncommon for me to do so, especially with how internet driven we are nowadays. I think it would be an experience looking back on it. I'd feel like I missed out if I didn't attend for it.
Well, what is everybody else doing in the audience? How are you interacting with Modern Horizons 3? I mean, we get to talk all the time about how the 3 of us interact with things. We have a Facebook chat that we leave open all the time. But what about you guys? I'd like to know from our audience, how are you guys feeling about paying $60 to go to a pre-release or $300 for a box? What are you doing with Modern Horizons 3? You have faith that it's going to maintain its value, or you're okay with losing the value? Because I think that's where 99% of people are going to go with open product.
Yeah, I do plan to do at least 1 draft on Arena of Modern Horizons 3, and I'm probably gonna do a real life play booster draft for the channel with the friends. They seem interested. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the set is cracked. It's actually insane. So
There's definitely really good cards in it. So I'm looking forward to it. Prime saying singles for him. Solar God not buying anything, just focusing on old set completions. Look at that. Ooh. Someone else with a completely different way of going to interact with Magic than I do. I don't think I've ever thought about completing a full set before.
No. Maybe when I was like 10, when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I was a set collector at that point, and in Pokemon I think as well. But I lost that drive very early on. Maybe because I didn't have the money to do it. Maybe because I just didn't care, I guess, at a certain point. I remember, I can't remember when it happened, but there was a certain part of my life where I enjoyed looking at the cards in my binder, and then that went away at a certain point, and I don't entirely know why or when that happened.
Well, I mean, it's a complicated thing to say why people get into the collecting aspect of it, even if you did it once. And it just doesn't, I'm sure in your mind, it doesn't compute. There's no value there to collect a set. For me, there's a lot of nostalgia with the older sets, but even at that, I've told Sherry Vegas to stop buying me the expensive cards. I got 1 more dual land left, and then I'll have the full 10 just as a kind of healing thing to get back at least a full set of 10. I used to have a play set, and it kind of like really sucks. I sold them off, but You know, collecting has really become such a small non-part of a collectible card game, because at this point it's so complicated and convoluted. What do you even collect at this point? What is a
Right.
full
Yeah.
set? The only thing you really
It's
identify as a
interesting.
full set is old.
Yeah, I recently started playing some Minecraft again, and one of the issues
Right.
with that is such a free form game. You really have to set your own goals. You have to figure out how you want to play and what you want to have fun doing. Figure out how you're having fun. And that's something in Magic the Gathering that people really need to think of every time their new set comes out. If they're revisiting one of their favorite tribes and they get to go ahead and, oh man, slivers are back better than ever, I'm in for the win. Or some people saw the planeswalkers that came out in MH3 and were very excited for that. So try and figure out how you have fun with it, and if set collecting is one of those things, or maybe you just want to go back and have fun with old cards. I mean, I was recently reminiscing with my cousin about 7th edition, and I just loved the way those cards look. And boy, if I had the couple $1,000 to open up a box, I would love to do so.
I actually thought about going like super heavy into something. Not entirely sure, to be honest, what. I'd have to do some market research, but I've got the $1,800 of the singles that I'm selling over at Cardboard Conduit. I'll let you guys know how that goes once I get. They received my order, so that's good. And once I get to know how much money I get, I think I might reinvest that into sealed product and just kind of. I don't exactly know what I'll invest in, but
I thought you hated that. I mean, you've given me so much crap about it on the show here that you don't understand it, and like, why would you do that? That sounds insane.
What? I've changed my stance on that like a long time ago. I still think it's retarded and I hate it, but I can't.
Then why are you doing it?
I can't argue with the fact that it is almost guaranteed, capital G word, guaranteed to make money in the long run. So
cash makes much better return than Magic boxes. Just putting it in a bank account and getting 5% a year, guaranteed. It'll go up way faster than return on your boxes.
I mean, not recently.
Yeah, recently.
I mean, not really. It depends on. I mean, like 2022 products of Magic have been up far more than 5% a year. I mean, it just depends on what you invest into. That's why I said I would do some research into it.
I think the
biggest problem that I have
is terrible idea if you're doing it for investment.
Well, the biggest problem that I have is that it might be a good investment. The problem is like the exit strategy. I actually still don't know what the exit strategy is for all the sealed product that I currently have. Like, I don't really have a place that I could liquidate sealed product, and I don't know really how I would even begin to do it. I think at one point I might just say F it and just open everything and just have a great time.
Well, it's easy. Sealed product sells. The problem is shipping, taxes, fees, all
That's
that just
easy
erode.
Strategy. That's what I'm saying. It might be easier actually to open it everything and just sell the singles to Conduit if it all checks
you still have the same issue. You still have the same issue though.
No. I mean, and there's the flip side of like, depending on what you're selling, like Fallen Empires, right? There's no way you're going to open Fallen Empires and sell singles. That's more than a pipe dream. You have to sell the sealed product.
But if you sell it through Card Conduit, then you don't make any money because you're only getting, like you said, at best, what, 70% of TCG low?
It's about 82%
and you still have
of
shipping.
TCG low.
What's that?
It's about 80 to 85% of TCG low.
And then when you calculate when you bought the product, it wasn't at what it showed it was in the tracker. You have to look at what your cost was for shipping, taxes, all of that. So by the time you're said and done, you don't make money by honestly selling Magic cards. Like, you can't look at it, oh, I made money on this one card or I made it on this one box. You have to look at an aggregate at all of it together. And I don't think anybody, unless you're Rudy, makes any money on it. And the only reason he makes money on it is because he gets YouTube content from his stuff and he has a Patreon, and I'll guarantee you that's where he makes the bulk of his money.
Well, plus the storefront too. I think that's one of the things that is not super in the forefront is how I think he has 3 stores that he runs that he owns LGSs in multiplicity. And I meant to say LGSs, not just the one. So there's that whole other side to it where he's not just buying all that product for him and for his patrons. There's, thousands of people that are visiting brick and mortar sales. But to, Matt's point, there are definitely some sets. I mean, if I had the principle going in, I definitely would have bought more of the Fallout collectors. I mean, at 241, it was 255 shipped, something like that for each one. Now it's more than double that. And that was easy to see coming up that was going to be a big hit. And I think some of the same things, you can choose maybe 3, 4 items per year and pretty locked in to go up in value if you get in early enough. But across the whole thing, if you're just buying everything, that's definitely not the way to go about it. Got to be smart as you go through.
Well, when they start hitting with the 1099s for selling this stuff on electronic platforms, which is going to happen. I'll bet it's going to be in 2025, waiting till after the election. And it's not going to be profitable, like, because you're going to pay taxes on buying it, and then you're going to pay taxes on selling it. So you have to keep all the receipts, and it's just too much, especially if you crack them open for singles. How do you show the receipts? So, it's not a game to me for collecting for value, for financial value, or for investment return. Those days, in my opinion, they're in the rearview mirror. And I think that's that is terrible advice, Solar God. Terrible advice. We do not advise that at all. We're not a financial channel, but don't pay attention to that, folks. That is not a wise move.
Hey man,
you can
do whatever you want. Don't let the man hold you down.
Yeah, right.
No, let the man hold you down, because he'll come back and hold you down with a gun. Like that's how that works. So pay your taxes.
We have a lot of those sovereign citizen folks up where I live
that never work.
Oh, dude, they're the funniest
you have to just keep saying it. If you ever stop saying it, if you ever stop believing that you're not a sovereign citizen, that's when it stops working. So you just
one of my coworkers.
No, it doesn't work. The judges don't let that crap fly. I watch all the time. I've yet to see one where a judge goes, "Oh, okay."
No.
Someone asked me, "How do you become a sovereign citizen?" I was like, "You just are. We're all born free, man. It's that you let yourself become a slave to the system."
Right?
And he just stared at me until he turned slowly.
The cop will shoot you through your window. That's where the crux comes in. Is this nut job worth making it on CNN and shooting it? Because you don't have the legal right. Like, people, that's an idiotic thing, folks.
Yeah.
Don't buy into it.
It made me cry a little bit. Yeah. Like the funny laugh.
Bad idea.
Cry. Yeah.
If you don't like the country, leave. You're free to go wherever the hell you think is better than here.
Well,
you don't have the right to say, I can live here and
country.
it's my sovereign citizenship. No, it's not. You don't get to enjoy the protections and freedoms that the taxpayers pay for and the way that the community lives. Then say, nope, this is my bubble.
So you're letting the man talk.
That's not how it works.
Let the man talk. You gotta just believe in your freedom.
No, you do that.
Just don't look in the mirror. I also need those Batman caltrops and oil slick dispensers, but that's a whole separate.
Yeah, I mean,
we got some of our class.
We need to get off that. We just need to get off that subject because it's absurdity.
I'm joking, just in case it wasn't apparently clear.
Yeah, well,
I was not joking. I hate those idiots. They ruin our roadways. But aside from that, I am more warm to Modern Horizons 3 than I thought I was going to be. But I am still saying I think one of the biggest sets yet to come this year is going to be Bloomborough. I think all that I can never say this word.
Anthropomorphic?
Yes, those animals. I think that cutesy stuff does phenomenally well in Magic the Gathering. Between all the cats and dog decks that we've seen sell out almost instantly, I think Bloomborough is going to be a huge hit coming up, especially with some of the early previews. I like the artwork. that like Eldraine style fairy tale stuff really hit it for me. And I think going forward that's something I'm still really looking forward to this year. What are you guys looking forward to? Is it Bloomborough, or maybe you want to do some of that murder mystery stuff in Karlov again?
Hell yeah. I can't wait to.
I did buy the Clue editions, and I'm perfectly happy having those. I haven't cracked them open yet, but I'm absolutely interested when the time is right. And that's the thing for me, what all of these, like, I don't know why I got these. It's not to resell. I told you how I feel about reselling. I don't know when is going to be the right idea that I run into the, we have a BobCon or whatever, and this is the door prize, or, I have a dear friend that, or my brother gets into it, something to have. Just like, for example, I've had an issue in my basement, my air conditioner, and the dudes that came over and they were looking at my stack of Magic cards, and they were lightly curious about it, and I bought a bunch of extra starter decks of the Lord of the Rings, and I was grateful for what they did. They kind of saved me a ton of money because it wasn't a plumbing thing. I called plumbers, and it was actually an AC leaking unit thing. It was backed up, the drainage thing. Anyways, there was kind of a flood near my Magic cards, and I was kind of grateful that they saved me a bunch of money. So I said, hey, you guys are curious about this? Here you go. I grabbed it off the shelf and gave them a starter deck, the starter kit, for the two of them to try out. You never know, like, what you're going to need. And to me, that was, rather than paying a cash tip, here you go. This is kind of cool.
Right.
I don't know what I have all of my sealed for, including the Magic 30. Maybe I'll open them one day. Maybe I'll open them offline, and you guys will never know.
It's true. He could have sold them already. I don't know.
Nah, I don't sell shit. You guys know that. I might give them away, but I won't sell them. But that's how I'm interacting with Magic when I buy. Like, I wanted to have Lord of the Rings, so I have a case of sealed Lord of the Rings draft because I just want to have it. There's sort of a hollow pit with I really feel burned by not buying more of the Throne of Eldraine when I had a chance with Rudy when I first became a patron, and he was selling them at $79 a box shipped. And I was like, I really should get that. And by the time I actually felt comfortable, because I wasn't really buying much sealed at that point, and I wanted Commander Masters more. Commander Legends more. So I bought, I put my budget on Commander Legends. And so I only got 2 boxes of Throne of Eldraine, and I even got them later when they were like $99 a box. But I may go back and get some more of that if it ever drops to a cheap enough level, because I disagree with you, man. I think that even fine sets, great sets, looking at Commander Legends collector boxes, they were worth over $700 a piece, the 3 I have sitting there. They're now worth $300 and something, almost close to what I paid for them. So sealed can go down, and does when they do reprints. They're hurting the sealed market, and they will hurt it more. And I'll guarantee you that reprint of Esper Sentinel, Dragon Rage Channeler, and Subtlety, and did they also reprint Solitude? I think, right?
I don't remember.
Those hurt the sealed. So just sitting on, the longer you sit on, it's like a time bomb. And I'll guarantee you over time, many others. I'm not sure about the Fallout one. We'll see how well that holds up over time. Pretty short window. It's still within this year release.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how it holds up in 3, 4, 5 years, however long you hold on to it. Like,
I think
those
search foils are a good multiplier. Yeah.
If you, well, for now, until they fall out of favor, and there's a better search foil that comes out on a more like Game of Thrones or Marvel IP.
The Ripple foils apparently are pretty cool looking.
So all I'm saying is that there's nothing that protects your value over time. As a matter of fact, the longer you hold on to the things, the more chance with the current regime that you're going to lose value. It's going to sit in your collection. Like some of us that had cards for 30 years that thought they were going to hold on to them and keep continuing to go up, and then they reprint it and gone, done, in the dust. And I think you can't unprint cards.
Yeah, to that point, Bob, I think that's why, for me, if an entire deck costs more than $100, definitely going to be Proxy. I mean, that's kind of my soft area. That's definitely price for fun. I'd rather have more decks instead of having one that's all real cards and all tricked out. I don't get anything for that. I'm not that kind of a collector. It doesn't, tickle my fancy. Whereas I'd rather have a goblin deck. I want to have my elf deck. I want to have my, big dumb monster deck.
I don't know if you guys are watching. Solar God is in a trolling mood tonight. Love you, Solar God. So would you say that calling the week is pretty strong? Look, that's just another common that's just ripe to be the next. What did you buy, Pat? Mystic Remora?
Mystic Remora, man. So I played that with my pod the other day, and somebody had never seen it before. And he's like, wait, how is this a card? And I was like, yeah, I had like near 20 of them at one point, and they were going up and going up. And then they put them in a secret layer. And then right after that, put them in a full set. And now it's less than half of the original price, but it's creeping back up. That's the thing, is over a long enough period.
What they're going to do when they see it creeping back up, guess what they do?
The same thing I'm doing is unloading that shit and, realizing loss. Like, I'm doing what I can, It's sometimes you see a dead fish on the line and you got to cut.
And that's my point, is that they changed the dynamic of what Magic was for 30 years.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, let's just, every time the lemon gets plump, let's squeeze it. Yeah. And, it's always been a possibility. They've always reprinted cards here and there, but they didn't abuse it, right? So it was still a healthy market. Mm. And what they've done in the last 3 or 4 years, they just absolutely destroyed that. It's gone. And the faith is gone. I don't know. And people ask me, well, what would you do? I don't know. I don't know that you can fix it. There's some things you just, can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but with some of the, recent change with Cynthia Williams leaving, I do hope that over the next few years, we see a little bit of the writing in the ship there. I'd like for Magic the Gathering to be a healthy trading card game again. I'd like to see that collectability aspect, definitely something that people explore more into, but it's definitely not that right now. And it's tough because so many of us are exposed to the reprint policy and how widely cards vary in prices over even just a few months.
I don't know. And I think holding up very strong. You've got Modern Horizons 3. I don't think that's going to be a flop. I think that they are definitely righting the wrongs they've done, or starting to do that, and we'll just see how long that lasts. They're on a good trajectory right now, I think.
I think that Madamus X has a good point. And that very well said, and I love the sentiment. The only problem with that is that the economy is struggling, and I think that we're probably going to be in for a very long-term economic downturn. And that being like, you just look to any media source, they're screaming that nobody can buy a house, nobody's going to retire, nobody can afford new cars. Cars are like $1,000 a month on average for the average car being sold. That houses are $400,000 on average. That interest rates are at 7% and actually climbing. That jobs don't pay anywhere near a livable wage, even on average, for all of these things put together, let alone trying to save for retirement, which many of the young people, I'm going to tell you right now, 50% of Americans can't come up with $1,000. 50%. 80% have less than $100,000 in savings for retirement. And I don't think any of us sitting here could reasonably hope to retire on $100,000. That shit would be gone quick. The average rent around the United States is $1,800. Food bills, even for us, is like $900 a month, even at the grocery store, and we eat out all the time. I don't even want to look at what our eating out bill costs, but probably in the $2,000 a month range. So, to look at that and then say, yeah, I can buy the expensive Magic cards, just by and large, people can't do that. Like, there's just not the budget. It doesn't work. Many people can't even buy. They're doing buy now, pay later for groceries.
Oh, geez.
So to say that buying expensive Magic cards because you want to, it just cannot be the normal way of things out there. And if it is, it won't be for long. It's unsustainable. Sorry. Bummeroon. So,
well, on that cheery note,
and good on you if you can afford it.
Yeah, see, Matt's fine with it if we're proxy players, and I think that's
hell yeah,
going to be a thing that I definitely continue to do going forward, because the way I want to interact with the game is playing it. That's going to be my number one thing that I want to do with Magic the Gathering cards. So I want to play with them. I want to have matches against other folks all over the world. Thank you, Spell Table, for that ability. And
Spell Table's pretty great for a free service. It's kind of boggling that it's free. It's pretty.
I mean, honestly. And
don't give them any ideas, Matt. Jesus.
I'm just
next thing you know, it'll be a microtransaction where you got to pay a coin every time you want to play a game.
You got to pay a credit to enter a game,
right?
I don't know.
Well,
why do they do it for free? It actually is kind of wild.
You know, I've never met anybody that cares that their proxy cards, aside from the artwork on them sometimes being so original and bombastically different than the printings from Magic the Gathering. So I have to make sure that they're readable, that people can actually see the card and understand what I'm playing. Aside from that, I mean, people usually just love the artwork on them. As long as I don't go too hardcore waifu, they're pretty cool with it.
Matt likes waifu cards.
Yeah, waifus are great.
And waifus are definitely, like, if they make a waifu set, that'll definitely bring in some money. It just feels
like a waifu anamorphic anthropomorphic set. Waifu anthropomorphic. That'd be
some
great.
furry stuff. Well, that Hitsune secret lair that recently came out, she's some VTuber, right? And I guess that secret lair sold out crazy fast.
It's not a VTuber. It's a artist and like a do you know what Vocaloid is?
You what?
No. Do you know what Vocaloid is?
Nah.
It's a program that was built a long time ago and now is becoming, I guess, more and more utilized. Basically, a voice actor or artist can sell their voice to Vocaloid, and then you can purchase Vocaloid and you can purchase voice packs, and you can like have it sing songs for you if you're good with Vocaloid. You can like input the words and have it using the voice that was pre-recorded. It can create music, or it can sing like a sort of like a real person. So Kitsune Miku is not a real person. I guess at one point it was a person that did their voice recording to the program, and it's just a dude that just like makes the music and makes there's an art to it. It's not easy to do. Like you can change
there's a South Park episode about this where Kyle's dad is actually Lord, the one that's yeah.
But so, what's wild to me is that people go to concerts for Kitsune Miku, and it's just a hologram of the person on the stage. Like there's like no actual it's not there's no people. It's just a hologram. It's like they're going to a concert and then watching TV. It blows my mind. Anyways,
look, people do their things. I
mean, whatever.
As long as I don't have to pay for it, I'm totally down for people. You do what you want, as long as you don't impinge on others. You want to be a sovereign citizen? Fine. Just don't impinge on others, meaning pay your taxes, because when you don't, you're impinging on me to have to pay more. But, I think that Proxy is certainly part of the vernacular that everybody has to have in Magic if you want to interact with it in a meaningful way moving forward. Like,
I never did answer.
Otherwise, it's just going to be, unless you're wealthy, which is 0.1% of the population, you can't keep up financially in a healthy way. And if you don't want to be financially healthy with it, also a choice that's yours to make, but I don't recommend it. So proxying to me is just a clear, no-brainer at this point. And the question, like we had for tonight's show, is when do you do it? Like, I do it one way, Matt does it another.
Well, I've changed my proxy now. I don't even use MPs. I don't even use
what
MPC autofill or anything. I just print it on my printer. Like, why would I? If if I don't care about the cards at all and how they matter, I can literally just buy the card stock on eBay or not eBay, Amazon. I buy the same weighting as a Magic card. I think it's 32 GSM or 320 GSM. There's a specific weighting for the Magic card. So I just buy the card stock and then I print it on my printer. And it's like, it's certainly not the quality that you would get from make playing cards. It doesn't feel like a real card, but in a sleeve, I gave them to my friends. They cannot tell the difference. It is this because the same weighting. Now, granted, looking at it and like depending on how badly I cut it with like the little like chop thingy that I have, if I try to do too many at once, and as I was pulling down, the sheets shifted, so it like starts like off cutting all of them. So if you don't do that while it's in a sleeve, you cannot tell the difference. And my buddy was like actually surprised. He's like, I'm like, it's the same weighting. It makes sense. Like in a sleeve, you cannot tell. So it's fine. But anyways, yeah, that's how I do my proxies now. I proxy everything but basic lands. I don't know what it costs me. Like, the ink and the paper. I haven't like broken that down. Maybe that's one thing I'll do, and I'll see if that's like, it might be cheaper, it might not be. I don't know.
Well, and you know what? It doesn't matter. Yeah. To that point, it doesn't matter whether you're printing them yourself or going to a site like MPC. Now, the other ones I don't recommend going to are the ones that charge exorbitant amounts of money. I looked at some of these proxy sites, and hey, get these 10 cards for $45. I'm like,
yeah, I've seen some shit like that before.
Back.
Ridiculous.
Like, go away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care
don't
how
get me
real
wrong.
it looks.
Using makeplayingcards.com, you can certainly trick the cards out. You can get them like cold foiled. You can get them.
I have thought about getting
fancy
cold
stuff on
deck.
that. What's that, Matt?
I have thought about doing a cold foil deck. It's expensive though. It ain't cheap.
Yeah, and that's like,
and with proxying, you can get into an entirely different thing. Like, if I really wanted to piss Matt off, I just print out all of my deck in Lorcana art, right, and play against Matt.
Yeah, there probably is that.
Oh, so
yeah,
so it's just like that. Whatever you're into, Castlevania. Yeah, have all Castlevania cards. You can really get into a whole different dimension of playing Magic in a way that's most suitable to you. Or if you want to put your entire family or the Brady Bunch or whatever on cards, that's or a football team, right? However you want to interact with it. Proxying is certainly becoming far less taboo. Would we all agree on that? Like, I don't know how much experience you have from the past, but in the past, taboo. How dare you make a proxy? And in today's world, it's like proxy friendly. Oh, you don't want to play proxy friendly? I think there's 2 dudes in the corner over there that are playing real cards only. Like, you can go play with those guys. Because most of the rest of us are going to play with proxies at this point. Because, Commander really is kind of the format of the soup du jour, so to speak. And I get it when you're playing. Like, I just don't see like tournaments anymore. Like actual tournaments for like standard. Sure, you have your draft nights and your pre-release events, but outside of that, if you're playing standard or modern at a store, they don't give a shit about proxies. Many stores have proxy policies, or they'll do some, okay, this is acceptable so long as you don't put blah.
Right.
So again, it's becoming, they're forcing it, kind of like what Warhammer did, right? Warhammer's models are so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that I know that does Warhammer has a resin printer now, right? And it's just the way of things.
Yeah, because, Games Workshop kind of priced themselves out of an audience. And I think that Commander Masters was that for Magic the Gathering. And for some people, even Modern Horizons 3 is going to be too expensive to buy into. And I think,
even
the proxy side of it is definitely an alternative way to still engage with the product. But one thing you can never really get with proxying is the pack opening experience.
Sure. And for those that are bougie enough to be able to afford that on a consistent basis, good on you. Just that, I'll give a word of caution being an older person looking back at this hobby saying, I hope it doesn't become a point of regret down the road when you need the money.
I'm pretty
So
excited
be
for getting the
responsible.
money back from the singles that I'm selling. Now,
Okay.
you definitely have to if you're using Cardcana, you definitely have to pick and choose which ones you want to sell, because I do not recommend just using their service where you just like send your cards in and you just take whatever they give you.
Yeah, I actually probably 2 weeks ago, give or take at this point, maybe 3. A buddy of mine came over and we ripped Dominaria Remastered Collector. You know, we had bought into it together, and not a lot of people are really looking back at that product favorably over the last few months, and that's why the single prices have crept up on a lot of those. So it was a wonderful time for us to revisit with a box opening, and we actually turned out a little bit ahead after all in all. So there's definitely still some play in those older sets. So you just got to make sure to be attentive and be smart with where you're putting your money, and have that exit strategy. That's one of the big things for me, is figure out what you want to do with what you're buying into. And for me, that's why I love proxying, is because I buy the deck, it sits there, and I get to play it whenever I want to. You know, I put it in my bag with all my other ones when I go and visit my pod or the play days at the store, and boom, there you go. That's me having fun.
Well, and here's the thing: when everybody talks about, oh, look, I made out because here's the retail price of theoretically what I should be able to get. I'd like to know, even on that Dominaria Remastered, did you really end up ahead after you deduct all of the cost to get rid of the cards?
Yeah, I mean, I've done the number crunching. We pay, I think it's 39 cents per hard loader. Envelopes are about 8 cents each. So between that and stamps, I mean, I charge 99 cents on shipping, so it's not terrible much of a loss.
Where
there.
are you selling them?
A TCG player. Yep,
okay,
so
and after your
paying that
TCG fees
13%.
and taxes?
Yep, that's coming at the end of the year. I get
okay, so again, I'm asking, did you really end up ahead?
Yeah, for
from
sure.
your purchase price with the shipping and taxes on the product when you purchased it and selling it and all
the
your
average
fees.
The average is 15 to 20% for fees, and you can just take 15 to 20% off. You don't have to do
and then shipping.
You don't got to do taxes.
What?
I've never paid taxes on anything I've ever sold on TCG Player. I've never even gotten a tax form from it, so I don't even understand how you're even supposed to, unless that's changing.
Yeah,
it is.
It was.
They actually paused it. It was supposed to have been. Supposed to have been last year that it went into effect, and Biden paused it.
Yeah, it's a couple $100. That is the threshold. I think it's like
$600.
Yeah, it used to be $600, but I think they lowered it.
No, it used to be 20,000.
Oh wow!
And they lowered it to 600.
Yeah, that makes sense. Go after the mom and pops that are trying to make a couple bucks.
Like read into it. I posted. We talked about it here on Cardboard Conversations.
I vaguely remember that conversation, but sometimes I get angry about that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I had to deal with that like the first year it happened, because I sold my Oculus Quest 2 online. Hey, what up, Dual Brain? I'm a huge fan of that VR stuff. Really love that. And I always try and get the newest MetaQuest set that comes out, because they lose money hand over fist on that shit. I think they're right now at like $44 billion in the hole on all of the Quest series. But Mark Zuckerberg just wants it to happen. So they just keep throwing money at the problem. And honestly, it's super fun.
I haven't delved into VR yet, so I don't know.
My daughter does. She's upstairs shouting profanities all the time on VR. She has Oculus too. I think she did paintball yesterday.
One of the things I'm a big fan of is just 3D like walking experiences. So somebody just like walking down like in Vatican City. I was doing that the other day, and it's just a dude walking with a 360 camera and just chilling, walking down the road in X place. So it's definitely.
I want to do that for Disney, right?
Oh man,
I want to be able to sit on my couch and visit Disney World and whatnot. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
I'd get super sick seeing a roller coaster one. Like, it's definitely easy.
I would take it off during that.
Yeah, VR legs is a real thing. You got to get used to it. I had one game that definitely turned my stomach, but Meta has a great return policy. If you've played a game for less than 2 hours, you can get all your money back. So if you just like start getting sick from a game, you don't have to, eat that loss.
Speaking of games, what are you guys doing this week? I've been doing StarCraft 2 a lot.
I've been playing a game called Wuthering Waves, and now I'm playing Genshin Impact.
Oh God, my daughter played that for a long time. Just a money pit.
Oh, congrats!
You don't have to spend anything. It's a free to play game, but yes, you can spend. I actually just watched a YouTube video of a guy. He spent $200,000 on his account, and he's happy. He's like, "Yeah, it's fucking great. I love it." I'm like, okay. I mean, it's expendable income, so he's rich. So I guess if I had that kind of FU money, then yeah, I'd probably do the same thing. I don't know if $200K, but I would definitely spend a lot of money.
When is PoE 2 coming?
I spend like $30 to $100 on mobile games a year, maybe a couple $100.
I don't really do mobile games. I actually did download one on my phone when I was sick because I was in bed a lot. Some dumb clicker game where you own like a chicken farm. I'm not big on mobile games in general. I usually just do PC gaming, and I've been playing this. It's called Oxygen Not Included. You have like a bunch of little dudes, right? Dudes and dudettes. It's kind of like the game called Don't Starve. It's made by the same people. And you start in the middle of an asteroid, and you've got to build a colony and deal with all these different resources, whether it be food or water. You also have to deal with pollution, not just airborne pollution, but on all of your materials, your peoples. You have to deal with like heat management. There's an entire wiring and plumbing and air ducting system to it. So it's incredibly deep. And I've been spending way too much freaking time playing it, which is why I took a break and started playing Minecraft again. Because
I'll play some Minecraft with you.
It'd be super fun.
Send me the link after the show. I'll play. I'll jump on the server. I've been itching to play some.
Okay, yeah. I'll see if I can figure that out.
I need to go down and build another massive cavern like we did before.
Well, they've made it even bigger now because of some of the updates, I think, since the last time we played. So
hit me up. I'll definitely jump in with you for a little bit if you want. But I think that's going to wrap it up for me tonight, folks. This is the first of the month. I'm assuming, Dual Brain, if you're still here, that you're I don't know if you're having a show tonight, but if y'all want to jump on over there and give him some loves and hugs, definitely support the Dual Brain. Matt, do you have anything that you're going to get into this week that on closing notes here and want people to know what you're doing?
Once I get my card conduit order back, I'm going to do some calculations, and then I'll, if it's promising, I guess no matter what, I'll do a video on my experience with the service, and we'll see how it is. I was concerned with them just like kind of just saying that your stuff is lightly played just so they can get more money. And I don't know if that's actually going to be the case or not, because realistically what I should have done is, and I didn't do it, I'll be honest, I did not double check all of the, like I did not go through and go, this card's definitely lightly played, this card's definitely near mint, which so at this point I just have to take their word on it because I'm lazy. I had already sorted all the cards, and like I'd already had it like packed up ready for shipping. So in order for me to like do that double check, I would have to like take it all out of the box and make sure that I don't mess up the order of the cards. So I just didn't. But I can, like I said, depending on the value that they give, it's still, even if everything's lightly played, it's still going to be $1,500 out of the TCG low is $1,890, I think it was. Because it's funny, I made the order for TCG, or I made the order to send it into Card Conduit, and then my Shieldred sold on TCG, so I had to cancel the order and remake it because I had to take it out of the listing, and it was apparently too late to change the order, or too late to change the thing, even though I hadn't shipped the cards yet. Didn't really make any sense at all. There's like a window of when you can like add or remove cards from the list that you create, which doesn't make any sense, but. whatever. It is what it is.
Well, look forward to that video, folks. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it'll be
Matt's going to have some detailed, good information for you about Card Conduit, and maybe that'll be a thing for you.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very easy outlet of getting your card. Like if you don't want to just, because right now I sent in 250 cards, so in order to like get rid of those on TCG Player, it'd be on average, well, at the worst case scenario, 250 shipments. Best case scenario, you sell a couple at a time, and maybe you cut that in half.
Yeah,
but that's still 100+ shipments of cards, and you save all of that. There's no fees as far as, I mean, they take 2% of the.
And it's all sold at once. That's the big thing.
Yeah, it's just
you don't have
convenient.
to wait a year, 2 years for all that stuff to be, fluctuating in people wanting to get those cards.
The only other option I've never explored, which I might do on some of the other cards that I have left that I want to get rid of, is TCG Direct, where you send everything to TCG Player and they sell everything for you. So it's like they promise to get more money for their cards, and you can kind of see that in some of the listings where the TCG Direct pricings are like actually more expensive, but it's the first thing that people see. So if you don't scroll down on the page, you're like actually spending more money than you should be. But that's just the TCG Direct, so it's guaranteed to get what you want or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That might be the next foray of things that I try after Card Conduit. We'll see how that goes.
I'm gonna try cracking this open and playing it with Miss Sherry Vegas this week. So I'll let you guys know if we can get to it this week. I'll let you know next Saturday. So tune in next Saturday for a review. I'm probably not going to take video. She doesn't like being on camera, but I'll let you know what I think about it. What about you, Pat? What you got in this week?
So Friday, I've got that Modern Horizons 3 pre-release event. Gonna go down and do that at the store. So I'll have a little bit of a review, hopefully recorded afterwards. I usually try and do that. Gonna be doing some more Hades games. Been recording some of a gameplay playthrough series there, and a couple other. Maybe if I get into it, maybe we'll do some of the other ones I got on the back burner as well, but nothing too intense.
Okay. Well, I think that sounds like a full week for people to tune in next Saturday at 7 p.m. for Cardboard Conversations, where we're kind of an all in wonder shop. So appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you for your time, and see you next Saturday.
Bye, y'all.